This is Linux Inlaws, a podcast on free Libre open source software, broadcasting from the United Kingdom and Germany.
Welcome to Linux Inlaws, Season 2, Episode 44. Martin, how are things?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
Good.
Have you coped with the weather, the lack of seasons in Great Britain? And Charles is now in power for a year and a bit?
Who?
Or 2 years, actually, Charles.
Well, no, he wasn't in power, is he? He just has a role, but that doesn't
I thought
involve
he
any
was.
power. Yep. No.
I mean, he's king, no?
Yeah, but that
Maybe I'm
doesn't
wrong.
involve any power.
Okay.
Purely a decorative function, or whatever you want to call it.
So Britain should adopt the US model. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I don't think so. That hasn't gone well really in recent years, has it?
Well, actually, some people could say months, but hey, what do they know? But that's not a podcast.
Twice after all. Yeah.
Yes, and some people are under the impression that it went downhill after the election, but that's a different point, I suppose.
Well, they could have known this from the first round, right?
But you see, Martin,
nobody paying attention or something.
You see, unlike us,
I don't get it.
Martin, unlike us, people don't learn. If you haven't noticed.
Well, there's this saying, isn't there? In Dutch, a donkey never hits the same stone twice. But
the Dutch are smart people, aren't they? But this is not a podcast about smart people.
Far from.
Rather,
Yes.
no, exactly. But rather about open source. And with that, I would like to, or Martin and myself actually would like to tonight's guest, which happens to be Michael. Last name will be revealed in a second, of a certain company. But before I butcher this even more, Michael, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, that would be nice. So my name is Michael, and if the last name matters, it's Jerger. So yes, I'm head of a small company in southern Germany. It's called Misa, and we are working in the area of software development and cloud. So in normal case, it's called DevOps, and we are on both sides of this DevOps. So we are developers and operators. Yeah.
So, Michael, for the two members of the audience who are not intimately familiar with Misa, why don't you, apart from two sentences, why don't you explain a little bit more what you do? And also, okay, full disclosure, I met Michael and some other people from Misa a couple of years back at a very, I wouldn't say important, but rather very cozy local event called Tübix. Links maybe in the show notes. It's a community, a free Libre and open source software event, of course, in southern Germany, where Misa is probably not too far away geographically wise.
Yes.
And Michael and some other people, I think you were giving even a presentation, and then then I thought it might be a good idea to get actually the people on the show, because what Michael and friends were presenting sounded very interesting. But before I get that even more wrong, Michael, off you go.
Yeah. So we are started work on federation on Git platforms. So I think this might be interesting to all the open source developers around the world. And we are contributing to Forjo. And we managed, I think, mid of last year to bring up the first user visible feature. So we are now able to federate stars in Forjo.
So what is Forjo?
Forjo, it's there was, I think 4 years ago, there was some ugly story around Git-T. I hope Git-T is I do not need to explain what Git-T is. Do you know Git-T?
Some people call it Gitea or something, I don't know.
Gitea, yes.
It's in Gitea. But for those people who are not in the loop, basically, it's a fork of GOG, as in GOGS. Sorry, GOGS, right? Not GOG, but rather GOGS, which, of course, again, is a portal solution for a Git framework. Is that probably a fair way to describe it? As in, if you remember the olden days, you had GitLab, you had GitHub, and imagine that in a pure open source fashion.
Yes.
And some workflows around it. But I won't steal away too much of your thunder. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a long story of forks. And short after the last fork, we joined on the board. And I think the last fork was caused because one of the maintainers of this Git tier decided to capture the repository and register some trademarks. And so the community went forward. And at this time, we at MISA, we have to choose a new Git platform, so Git repository server. And we looked around. And so we discovered Forjo, and they are claiming they want to develop a federation. And that was a feature we are eager to have. So that was the reason to choose Forjo, just to operate on our server. In the same, some days later or some months later, we recognized that there was nothing going forward concerning federation. And so we decided to jump in, and so that was the start of the story.
If I understand this correctly, Forjo is a clone of Gitea, right?
Yes. So it's compatible. So there are some migration ways open at the moment, but so the completely binary compatibility is no longer given, and there are some configurations diverging and things like this. But yes, it's a follow-up.
Okay, and do you have a bit more information about, or why did they fork it, right?
That just rumors, because I was not on board at the project at this moment. But yes, I heard about things.
I think
to tell us what they are.
Yeah, I mean,
what you heard.
Yeah,
spill the beans. Spill the beans.
No,
So,
I mean, sorry, Michael. You want to go ahead, or should I spread some evil rumors? Why?
Yeah, you feel free. I can comment on this.
In that case, let's do it that way. Okay, at the time, and we're talking about 2021 or 2022, I can't even remember. The Gitea people decided to, as you normally do, to fork the code base and set up a commercial entity. And what probably caused a little bit of a stir was actually the fact that they did this without consulting the community. And at the time, they had a lot of outside contributors. And if you do that sort of thing without asking them, I reckon that will cause a stir.
Fork stuff,
exactly. And then basically set up a commercial kind of company is okay, but you want to make sure that the community is on board prior to this.
Yep.
Michael, correct me if I'm wrong with that short summary.
That sounds good. And as I know, there was some democratic votation, so among the maintainers. So I think some period of time, one of them had the control over the repository, and one of these maintainers has captured the repository during his period. And so that's just our rumors, but from my point of view, if I would contribute to Gitea, then I have to hand over my copyright to them, and that's something I do not like this. Let me say it in this way.
Do you know if they had a CLA in place as a contributor's license agreement? Do you know this?
Yes, they have. So this says you have to hand over all your copyrights to company.
This sometimes just asking for trouble, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
So Gitea was written in Go, right? As in Golang, if I'm not mistaken. So
written in Go.
Yeah. So the code base was forked, and then what?
So they captured the repository, so they own the original GitHub repository, and Forjo was forked. And the other maintainers decided to fork it and set it up in a separate environment. And I'm not sure how exactly the timeline was, but at this point in time, there was created, founded, started Codeberg. It's I do not know the word for Verein. It's in German. It's something like.
And it's an association, essentially.
An association, yes, okay. So Codeberg is an association located in Germany, and they are publicly founded, I think, and they are operating a large instance of Forjo, of GT, at this point in time. And so at this instance, the Forjo community is living.
So Codeberg, is a result of Forjo coming into existence, or no? I think Codeberg existed before the fork, right? If I'm not completely mistaken.
I am not really sure about this timeline. So, but they operating at the largest Forjo instance, and they are funding development, and the maintainers are well known. Forjo maintainers are well known, and so
I mean,
somehow both of them are come to existence.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on the history of Codeberg, but it was an association, I think. Oh, sorry, it still is an association. Before we get hate mail from Codeberg, you are still in existence. Don't worry about it. And please get in touch if you have any corrections on the following. Codeberg was founded in 2019, if I'm completely mistaken, with the purpose of providing an alternative to GitHub and Friends.
Okay.
In terms of also GitLab, because GitLab at the time also had taken a commercial spin in terms of route down the trodden path, in terms of how to, it's similar to GitHub, in terms of how to commercialize the offering, in terms of providing a hosted solution. And some people up in Berlin, I think, decided to set up an association, because it is Germany, so you want to do this in a very formal and official way. So they set up an association. I think the overall idea was also to get some federal funding, if I'm completely mistaken. Never mind, I think European funding. And so you have to have a kind of an official / formal channel around this. That's the reason why the association was set up. I think, as I said, in 2019, links, of course, will be in the show notes, with the idea of providing a viable community alternative to GitLab, GitHub, and Friends. And they had Gitea from day one as their open source for the code versioning system in terms of version control system. And after the fork in 2021, I think it was, or 2021, they immediately adopted Forjo as their primary version control system because of this fork. And
possibly, yes.
Yeah, and links, of course, within the show notes. Needless to say, in comparison to GitLab and GitHub, I think GitHub features about 330 million projects or something like this. They are tiny, as in very small. But with regards to a pure-based open source solution, they're quite significant, I would reckon.
Yes, so last year I counted, I had a look on the user count, so it was 40,000 users active in there, and I think now it's more. And it's even get even some attacks from right wings and things like this. So I think that shows the importance of Codeberg, the Codeberg instance.
I mean, if you're flying under the radar, you won't be attacked, because why bother? Exactly.
Yeah.
But you yourselves, you adopted Forjo to run in your own infra, right, rather than using the publicly Codeberg. Is that right?
So we are present on Codework, but we have also our own instance.
Right.
So as a software development company and a DevOps company, we are proud enough to run our own services on own servers. So that's
Okay. Is that why you mentioned the federation piece? That is that something that you're looking to?
Yeah. So that's one core motivation from us. So I think the MISA company is existing longer than 10 years, and over this time we have I've counted the numbers. I think we have invested more than 1,300 days of open source work, and to hand this invest over just to GitHub or GitLab does not make a good feeling to me as a businessman, and for this reason we are looking for some way out. So we all, I think, know histories about, let's say, SourceForge, if you can remember this.
Vaguely, it's hard to find because it's plastered with ads these days.
Yes. and we can observe right now the way X is going or Twitter is going on, and Facebook will follow also. I think Google does not very long be able to head the don't be evil story in front of them.
I think they abandoned this in 1st of April 2022. Timelines, of course, need confirmation, but they are no longer about don't do anything evil. That's gone, I'm afraid.
So from my point of view, all monopoles tend to go to the evil side. And if I have a look at our invest, this invest is bound, so that the return on this invest is community, and community is totally bound to the platform.
Martin, did you take note? All we have to do is actually we have to become monopoly, then we take the evil road, and then we sort it. No.
That kind of goes against our principles, though, doesn't it? Some bit.
No, jokes aside. Sorry, Michael. Back to you.
Yeah. So that's our core motivation, and I think it's time to de-risk the open source development. And for this reason, we are heading to federation, or we are looking for federation. And the second element in this story is we got some new employees, and they did not learn at university their business. So we decided not to go to university way of learning, but we decided to let them code on open source software.
Before we go down that route, Michael, maybe now is the time to shed some light on what exactly a federated source code control versioning system is.
Okay.
Because we all know what GitHub is, because I reckon the majority of listeners are familiar with the concept, and also know what Git is, because at the end of the day we're dealing with an open source audience, as an open source software audience. But I'm just wondering where the term federation comes into play. We all know, of course, what Mastodon and Friends are, or Matrix for that matter, because these are true federated systems. But how do you federate a version control system?
Yes, you're right. So let's start at the basics. So Git is already federated, so you can define different origins and can pull and push across them.
Okay.
That's some kind of federation, but there are some parts missing. So that's for this reason, GitHub has some added value built around the pure Git functionality. So in GitHub, you can have issues, for example. So some user of your open source software can experience an issue and can give you the knowledge back, and you can discuss with him about this issue, and maybe he can give you some hints and things like this as an open source developer.
Okay.
And this kind of interaction is bound to the platform itself. So the issue creator is in need to have an account at GitLab or GitHub, and the open source developer is also forced to have an account at GitHub. So both are bound with their accounts on GitHub, and if they are on GitHub, they can communicate. And there are more. So issues is one thing. Then you can think about fork and having pull requests and comments in this pull requests and answers and things like this.
So essentially, Forjo actually combines multiple instances to a federated network, similar to Matrix or Mastodon. So basically, you can tell Joe Block in Texas running his own, by the way, Forjo server. Now look, I've found an issue with your code that you're hosting on your own instance. And because you know Joe Block and you know also the server address, so you can actually open the issue on his instance.
That's the idea.
Brilliant. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one real existing problem is because we are long-term interested into de-risking. We have all our Git repositories distributed across GitLab, Codeberg, our instance, and GitHub. So in former times, we used GitHub to get be found by Google, and we use GitLab to run our CI there, and we use Codeberg for a long time now to have interaction in there with the community. But on all these platforms, we got stars from users on our open source repositories. And once upon a time, long time ago, I went to Breton and LibraPay people and asked whether they want to do an beta test with our repositories. So we are interested to get money for our work from the users. And they told us that they just think about such things if the repository has 100 stars or more. And these stars are distributed. So we have 20 stars on GitHub and 50 stars on GitLab, some stars on our own instance and some stars on our Codeberg instance. And there was no way to collect all the stars together to one location. And for this reason, we have chosen the star as the first thing to federate.
That's amazing. Speaking of continuous integration, if you take a look at an enterprise account in GitHub, and you can do, and of course you can do the following without an enterprise account in GitHub. Just naming one example. GitHub these days does provide I'm almost tempted to say fully integrated workflow with regards to GitHub Actions, or something called GitHub Actions, where you can actually specify or define your CI pipeline, which, especially if you own an enterprise account, has various tie-ins with other systems, but GitHub alone, as in GitHub Actions alone, provide a pretty powerful tool with regards to, say, if you have a code base, if you want to build a container image, and it ties in with various third-party systems. But at the end of the day, defining such a continuous integration workflow, including code inspection steps and all the rest of it, is not that complicated anymore, because GitHub Actions do take a lot off your plate with regards to simplifying the workflow. needless to say, if you do this in a federated fashion, that has even much, much more appeal, I reckon, in contrast to centralized instances such as GitHub. Of course, I'm simplifying things because in the background, GitHub, I reckon is running a quadrillion number of servers providing their service, but that's not visible to the outside, whereas you, if I understand this correctly, have the federated character visible also from the outside. So what in terms of a CI workflow, what do you support with Forjo?
Forjo is supporting the actions also. So they are quite compatible to GitHub actions. And a different team is working very hard on bringing CI in a good shape. And all the Forjo releases, for example, are still built by Forjo actions at the moment. And that's working quite well, I think. But I'm not too deep in this topic because I'm more a GitLab CI man. So I do not really, maybe I've tested the actions in some years ago and I did not like this, so I never had a closer look at them since then, I think. But in some point in time, we will also set up such a CI system for Forjo, I think, and then I will be able to tell more, I think. But in terms of federation, at the final end of federation, I would like to be able to trigger workflows across instances. And that brings also some important topic into mind, because you can imagine that CI runs is the most security sensible topic in a supply chain of software, and so security is quite important at this point. If you think about allowing foreign peoples from foreign instances to do things on your CI, that's a sensible thing.
So to understand this correctly then, your federated, let's say your federated instance, that is not just for your own control, that's part of the bigger picture, and everybody can use that as a, in inverted commas, local version of their source control.
That's something I'm not sure about. So in the primary view, I think our instance should serve our CI.
Yeah.
But if someone is contributing pull request, this pull request will be executed in our CI, I think. So that's the same topic as yes, you know, in GitHub already. There are protected branches and there are unprotected branches, because if someone is filing an pull request, then the CI pipeline you maintained for your project is already executing, and if there are some dangerous logs, they can show you secrets from your pipeline or things like this. So that's the reason for having protected branches. And the same will be true for federation. So pull requests coming in through federation will be the same class of problem or class of security.
Okay, makes sense. Something else I wanted to ask is, so you're a small outfit developing software. What kind of software do you develop, and is everything open source, I guess? And is it just purely your own products that you build, or do you also contribute to other open source projects?
Yeah, so we are have just normal customers. They are not building open source, but we do our all our invest, which we do open source, and all our software managing our own systems is also open source. And software or customers, for example, is some business to customer company building online shops. I think 5 years ago or 8 years ago right now, and they managed to coming across a Corona pandemic successfully through our own online shop, and that's something we are doing. And this online shop was starting with, I think, a small development team with 5 people, and it's ended in a large development team with 150 people, and we managed to roll out every commit we have done on the main branch, and these commits was rolled out immediately to the productive system. And such projects we are consulting and working on.
If I take a look at your website, I come across a couple of things that really sounds interesting. And needless to say, if you have a marketing department, because we don't, because Martin keeps firing the marketing people. But if you have a marketing, department, of my side, feel free to get in touch. No, I'm joking.
If you need any advice on marketing, please come to us.
Exactly.
People,
don't ask Martin, exactly. Because he won't be able to give you any. No, jokes aside, if I take a look at your website, there's something called Convention for Kubernetes, which when I first read it, sounded very appealing in terms of, normally with regards to Helm charts, without going too technical, Helm charts, for the 2 people who haven't used Kubernetes listening to this podcast, Helm charts essentially define, and of course the Kubernetes community will crucify me now, but I'm very, very much simplifying things. Helm charts basically simplify deployment of Kubernetes environments with regards to providing templates where you can package essentially Kubernetes deployments. So what the pods look like, what the custom resource definitions look like, and all the rest of it. Again, simplifying very much. But of course, the trouble with templating is actually that you have to drop the templates in the first place. Now, if I take a look at your website, it mentions something, Convention for Kubernetes, and that approach apparently uses Clojure, which is a functional programming language, instead of templating. So you can actually, if I understand this correctly, you can actually program your deployments in Kubernetes beyond Helm charts.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on this? Because I found this very, very appealing with regards to further automating your Kubernetes CI pipeline.
Okay, so the problem if you operate in Kubernetes is that if you have let's say an application, this application will consist in, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 lines of YAML. And to manage
which is the Helm chart, exactly.
To manage this, most people use Helm charts, and Helm charts are based on Go templating. And templating, you can see things like, you have to insert this string, but put 4 spaces in front of, or take care not to have a line break at the end of this line.
Yeah, the English phrase that comes to mind is basically people have been killed for less.
Yes. And that's nothing which makes fun. And so we decided if we do open source and if we manage our own servers, we are going to have other tooling which makes more fun. And I've chosen Clojure because Clojure is a good language to transform data, and nothing else. You are doing with Helm deployments. You have an input, let's say 10 or 50 lines of configuration for your local environment, and you generate out of this 2,000 lines of YAML configuration, and that's nothing else than data processing. And we are doing this in Clojure because Clojure is quite lean and quite able to do this. And the other reason is in Clojure you can compile against in direction to Java or in direction to Java, Graal, VM, and then a binary. And the third way you can go is you can compile this to JavaScript. And all our modules we are also compiling against JavaScript. And as example of our CLI tools, you can also use this JavaScript compile result in a website. And if you want to link one of our repositories, you can just click on the image and it will come to a website carrying this JavaScript, and you can have some inputs and press a button, and then you can see this 2,000 lines of output.
Okay.
And that's all local in your browser, so no server interaction is needed at this point.
Okay, Helm charts eventually do interact with the Kubernetes control plane. Sorry, crash course in Kubernetes. Kubernetes is essentially a framework for orchestrating containers, as everybody knows. The beauty about Kubernetes basically is that it's highly automatable with regards to you tell it what the deployment should look like, and Kubernetes, I'm very much simplifying things. Kubernetes then will take care of the scaling of any persistence requirements you have and all the rest of it. Again, very, very much simplifying. A Helm chart essentially tells Kubernetes how to do things. How does conventions for Kubernetes interface with Kubernetes control plane in that case? Similar to Helm?
It does not.
Okay.
So I think, by the way, that this part of Helm is not working quite well. So I was often in situations where I came across such an upgrade and things like this, where Helm tried to do things and it didn't work. And that's not a nice situation. So we believe just in a one direction. So we create the output and we put this output to Kubernetes cluster. And so it's just one direction, no interaction between state and Kubernetes and things like this.
So you essentially feed the output of this Clojure script directly into the control plane?
Yes.
That's what I meant originally, okay. And just out of curiosity, Haskell wasn't an option? I mean, hipsters these days, and Martin is probably the best example, do go for Rust also instead of more traditional functional approaches.
Yeah, so we just have set up a Rust learning group 1 week ago, and I think tomorrow is the next meeting, but it's in German. So Rust is also an option, but starting 10 years ago, Clojure was, I think, the best choice.
So Haskell didn't even feature on the radar, okay?
Haskell, yes, I know it, but
okay, fair enough. Martin,
I love these brackets.
Okay. Martin, are you taking notes here? I wonder, Mr. Visser.
Well, I was a little bit surprised when Michael mentioned that Clojure is all about data processing, because there's quite a few other solutions available for that. But there we go.
Have you ever dabbled in functional programming language, Mr. Visser? I'm just wondering, including Rust.
Only about 50 years or however long it is.
Full disclosure, Martin is actually older than me. Martin is about 70. I'm just touching 60. So Martin apparently
depends what years you use it.
So Martin still apparently has been around when Lisp was all the rage. Back in the 60s.
Oh my God, yes, I remember it. Anyway, you should remember the 60s. You were surely born before then.
I was just born then, exactly, Martin, because there's other people who apparently started programming at that tender age then.
Well, you can never start too early, right?
Exactly. Just changing tack a little bit, Michael. I reckon MISA has about, even fewer employees than the Linux Inlaws, who consists of a single-digit workforce because Mike keeps firing marketing. So what are the particular challenges of setting up a SME, like in a small medium enterprise, in this space? And if I take a look at your website, you simply be focusing on the German market. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah. So that's the thing we try to do, because we have not to translate things in this case, but we have also customers outside of the EU and also outside of Germany. So we are providing support for Forjo, for example, and I think that's something not widespread, and there are some commercial users also, and so we are helping them.
How much of that do you do in terms of Forjo support? Is that something that's taken off, or
yeah, it's taking off at the moment.
Okay.
So it's gaining more velocity. So there's some hosting provider in Switzerland. They are going to set up hosting for Forjo servers, and there are several companies searching for alternatives to GitLab and GitHub Enterprise and Git tier. So yeah, there are people coming to Forjo, and some of them will need support and service and development, and that's one part of our business.
And these are companies that they're setting up internally, right, for their own usage.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
When I take a look at my side, and I'm sorry that I'm kind of drilling down on the business model, but I find this very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There are hyperscalers who also venture into professional support, and there are also, I'm tempted to say, the Red Hats of the world who also offer professional support and do have a significant tool chain under the belt when it comes down to OpenShift and all the rest of these hipster technologies, I'm tempted to say. How do you differentiate yourself in the light of that competition?
So we don't, at least. So our setup is aiming to really small companies. So we have a setup. It's starting from it's running on Hetzner servers, and it's starting from €5 per month.
Hetzner, if you're listening, the email address is sales@linuxinlaws.eu or marketing@linux.eu, or even better, sponsoring@linuxinlaws.eu. Hetzner, if you're listening, sorry.
Okay. I hope you're taking notes, because it's
so happy to give you some bonus.
I think
I'm joking. I'm just sorry. Go ahead.
Model, aren't you? For Linux Inlaws.
So if you want to have a running Kubernetes on let's say AWS, you have to pay $70 just for nothing, just for the control plane. And for a small company like us, that's way too expensive. So we have also a Kubernetes setup, but it's mainly just for us. It's a single node Kubernetes cluster. It's based on K3s, and we deploy such a single node Kubernetes cluster and put on top our convention for Kubernetes application. So we have if we run 4 applications, we have 4 servers, 4 Kubernetes clusters, or each of these Kubernetes clusters running one application. So in terms of scalability, that's not the best thing to do, but in terms of cost efficiency, it's a good choice. And if one of these applications is, let's say, denial of service, the others will be not impacted from this. So that's the thing we are doing another way compared to the hyperscalers. But that's nothing we sell. That's more a way how we operate our business and how our friends and partners are operating their business, and we are interacting on this between this group of users and have open source in the mid.
Okay, and a convention for Kubernetes SNC4K, that would be on GitHub, or is it open source? I wonder in the first place.
It's open source, yes.
Okay.
All our software is open source.
Okay.
It's also, you can find parts of this also on GitHub, but most of it you will find on our server. So GitHub is no longer really important to us.
No, understood. So if Martin wanted to take a second look at Clojure, all he would have to find out basically is where your Forjo instance is hosted.
Yes.
Very good. Details may or may not be show notes. Martin, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of material.
I'll send you a link.
Clojure out there.
Please, yes, do. So Martin can finally catch up on his education.
I'm not entirely sure if I'm ever going to use this, but there we go.
I've worked on Keycloak last days, so I will send you the link on chat.
Yes, please.
So our Keycloak has no integration in Nextcloud and in Forjo, and it has also backup and integration in monitoring and Grafana Cloud.
You don't?
Nextcloud, how is that working for you?
Yeah, all these little things.
Well, he just said that they don't have integration with Nextcloud.
Oh, I thought he said
wrong.
No, I thought he said. Anyway.
Sorry, do you do or you don't have integration with Nextcloud?
We have.
Oh, sorry,
So
I got that wrong. Okay.
Yesterday, written a short document how to integrate.
Okay.
Just the authentication, but not authorization, but authentication is working.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
Quite nice.
I think you were going to ask about KDE, no?
No, actually, funny enough, I don't.
Oh,
No, there was something I wanted to ask about with regards to... Yeah, what's the road ahead for MISA? I mean, what's next?
So I can tell you something about our education model, if you're interested in.
Yes.
So can come back to Federation and Forjo and our engagement. So we decided not to put our employees or our trainees to university, but we decided to put them on real-world open source projects, and we have chosen Forjo for doing this. So all our trainees are now working, let's say, till they are able to operate and develop things in the business area also. They are programming and developing software for Forjo, and I am supervising this. And that's the way how we are developing Federation and why we are also continuing to develop Federation. So some part of our education time is going to Forjo and to Federation in this.
Okay. And what's next for MISA as in the company with regard to the next big thing, if you can talk about it?
Yeah, I think we will expand our Forjo support.
Okay, so that's the future destination.
Yes.
But by the way, you don't have any venture capital backing you up with regard to funding, right? You're kind of self-sustained.
No banks involved and no venture capital involved.
No, I'm just asking.
Homegrown.
It does have, VC backing does have its disadvantages, I might add. As Martin found out last week, when he apparently got in touch with a couple of VCs to see how they think about funding Linux Inlaws. But that's probably another topic for another show. We're not there quite
probably
yet.
Something for the 50-year plan.
Okay. Before we wrap this up, Michael, is there anything we should touch upon before we take this kind of to the finishing line?
No, I think we came across all the interesting topics.
Excellent.
Yes.
Cool. In that case, let's touch upon the POXs as the picks of the week. I guess first, so Michael, what's your POX?
I've read at Fefe's blog that Microsoft is ditching.
We should probably explain what Fefe is for the people who do not know this.
It's a famous guy in Germany, and he's ranting about topics he's seen in the IT around the world.
Yeah, let's give the bigger picture before people even get slightly confused here. Fefe is a guy that has been around for the last.
What's his name?
Christoph somebody. I can't remember.
Oh, but it's called Fefe or whatever.
Yeah, that's his handle and his nickname. He has been around for the last 50 years. I mean, he invented blogging before there was even word for it. No, I'm joking. I can recall reading some of his blogs about 10, 15 years ago, easily, if not longer.
Okay.
And yes, and to call him as a conspiracy theorist is probably not picturing it. But anything he picks up upon, there is a comment on this. So he spits out about, 500 blog entries a day or something like this, maybe slightly less. But it's more than 20, as perceived from the outside anyway. Michael, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he does a couple of entries a day.
Yes, but not 20, I think.
Even more, fair enough.
It has to be a busy day if there are 20.
Okay, in that case, I stand to be corrected. It's less than 20, but certainly more than 5.
Yes, that's right.
And, I mean, anything goes. I mean, whether it's Vogon's Landing, Martin Hurricane reading poetry.
The latest one seems to be about the Berlin Polizei, who has lost some money and found it again, wasn't it?
And Trump, of course, is his favorite subject for the last week or two. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, yes. Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Yes, but beside of Trump, I've realized that Microsoft is going to drop TypeScript in favor of Go. I'm not sure whether that's a cool decision, but they seem to do this, and so it's just worth to recognize.
I thought they invented TypeScript.
Yes.
All those years ago. I mean, VS Code, a good portion, before people will crucify me once again, a good portion of VS Code is written in TypeScript, no?
I assume yes.
At least the last time I looked at it, it was the case. And of course, TypeScript being the typed version of JavaScript. Again, I'm simplifying things, but...
Let me say, I would understand if they have chosen Rust or something like this, but Go, okay.
Rust is big with them as well. But only for the last couple of years.
Tiny little language, nobody uses it.
Tiny, okay. Martin, right, go ahead. And you just heard Martin's POX as in pick of the week. That would be a tiny programming language called Rust.
No, it's not. No, I have a completely different one.
Okay, Martin, sorry, Michael, are you finished with your POX, or is there anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Nothing to add.
Perfect. So, Martin, what's your POX?
Oh, my POX is a guy called Robert Liu, who is the general manager of the Net Registry. And he's kindly notified us that a bunch of Chinese people want to buy our domain. So
again,
good of him. Yeah.
I mean, this is his.
And if we want them, we probably have to send him £1 million.
Yeah. I mean, they got in touch with us at least 5 or 10 times.
Well, clearly, it takes a long time to register a domain in China.
No, I mean, your man keeps sending us mail.
I know.
And I don't know how many. I forwarded this to finance when they were still in place, as in when you didn't have them fired.
How can we afford all these departments?
Well, this is probably the reason why you have to talk with VCs to get all the cash, no? Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay.
I have a better idea. Why don't we not talk to VCs and not have all these departments? It's much easier.
Well, Martin,
and more efficient as well.
You have to answer these emails yourself, no? You really don't want to do this. I don't know.
No. I'm happy to just read it and ignore it.
I mean, I think
and not to bother about our Chinese presence.
I think the first 5 or 10 times I got back to him and said, "No, look."
What did you? That's good of you.
Yeah,
who needs a department?
Linux. No, exactly. Linux Inlaws is a registered trademark in the following geos: Europe, the US, Asia, maybe.
Asia.
Certainly Earth and the universe, right?
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Universe
seriously,
sounds
I don't know. I mean,
cover.
apparently the last payment for China didn't go through, so I'm unclear about the trademark status in said
So
country.
I think you should think about the moon also.
Yes,
They are going to get
Yes.
internet.
Thank you for the hint. We put this somewhere between the Earth and the universe, I suppose, or at least the solar system. If we can find the registrar who's in charge of trademarks in our solar system, fair enough. Okay, jokes aside. Okay, anything else, Martin, that you want to mention?
No, I'm good. Yeah. That certainly made my day. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, my pox is actually much more serious. It's a lady called Linda Kahn. Martin, does that ring a bell, I wonder?
No, I don't tend to watch those type of movies that you do.
Sorry, sorry, before I butcher her name even more, it's Lena Kahn, not Linda.
That sounds very German.
Kahn. No, actually, Khan is spelled Khan, which is certainly Mongolian.
Okay.
Because this is where the Khans come from originally, all those 1,000 years
ago.
ago.
Just the first name, like Lena, that sounds very...
Yeah, I mean, Lena was or used to be in charge. No, Lina.
Yes,
not Linda, but Lena. Right, exactly. Oh. So Lena Khan was in charge of something called the FTC, if that rings a bell.
Oh yes.
The Federal Trade Commission, exactly. A lawyer by training, needless to say, with the advent of the Trump administration, she was gone, but she wrote a very seminal paper that was actually published in the Yale Law Review. Needless to say, pointers within the show, links within the show notes.
Sounds fascinating.
Yes, and this paper, Martin, it gets even more interesting. And that paper was published in, I think, 2017 or already. That was called Amazon's antitrust paradox. Uh-huh. I know it sounds riveting, and actually it is, because it's only 100 pages. No, seriously. Okay. I mean, and that paper was actually, because A, it was seminal, B, it was riveting, or still is rather, and C, he had absolutely pretty much 2 points in there. I won't give away too much, so that interested listeners can actually read the paper. As I said, it's only about 100 pages, and if you even have less time, the abstract will do very nicely. Thank you very much. Essentially, it outlines why the then prevailing antitrust legislation in the US didn't capture the sprawling Amazon ecosystem in terms of Amazon was founded mid-90s, give or take a few, but has beaten the mark quite a few times. And Lena's argument is essentially that the current mechanisms in place are wrong to beat the likes of Amazon. And Amazon, of course, being just a representative for the Microsofts, the Googles, and the other monopolies out there.
Perhaps? No.
Well, name any.
Meta, Tesla? We should.
Yeah, exactly. Needless to say, you might disagree with the content or with the general attitude of the paper, but she certainly has a point from an antitrust perspective.
Yeah, well, it's a bit sort of, I think the word is naive, right? Because isn't it how American politics work?
You see, Martin...
Who pays the most money gets the guy in the White House, right?
Martin, you see, without a Marx, there wouldn't be socialism. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, let's not go there. There were some downsides to that one as well.
Listeners, just listen to the next 5-year episode. All will be revealed. And with that, Michael, I hope we didn't scare you too much now. It has been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you very much. And look forward to having you back in a few years' time to give us an update on MISA and, of course, the word revolution. Never mind communism. I'm joking. Michael, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here.
This is the Linux Inlaws.
You come for the knowledge,
but stay for the madness.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you like this feature presentation. If so, please spread the word. If not, please let us know. Feedback at linuxinlaws.eu.